Good morning, everyone. On behalf of DISC, collaborating partners Equinor, Aker BP, Able, and Aker Solutions, it's a pleasure to welcome you all to today's Show&Tell event. We're thrilled to have you here as we continue to build on the momentum from our last gathering in December 2023. Today's event is all about taking things to the next level, with live demonstrations here from stage. We got an impressive lineup of presentations that showcase the creativity, dedication, and forward-thinking approach of the presenters. This event is more than just demos. It's an opportunity to connect, collaborate, and inspire each other. Whether you're here to present, listen, or contribute, your participation is vital in driving our digital journey forward. So, without further ado, let's dive into today's program and see what developments the presenters have been working on. Thank you for being here, and let's get started. Here on stage, we have the DISC working group. My name is Helge Ferdinand Schjøtt. I'm working in digital project management in Aker BP.
And my name is Tonje Sandnes Blix, and I work in Aker Solutions.
My name is Fredrik Antonissen, and I'm working as acting CTO in PCA.
And I'm Lars Bertinussen, I'm heading up PCA.
Yes, Arsalan Pastar, Improvement Manager in Able.
Veronica Tverbak, I work in LCI Governance in Aker BP.
And Charles Hallos, IT Manager for Field Development and Offshore Wind in Able.
And Ida Ringbrigtsen, Equinor, within standardization and digitalization.
Ove Heitmann Hansen in Aker BP, also in the activity list of activities, but also in the technical committee.
Jan Slettebakk, Aker Solutions, Enterprise Architect in Aker Solutions.
Yes, Jan, and you also have something you would like to say before we kick off today.
That's correct. We would like to bring a great thank you to all the contributors that have made this event happen. We have got a lot of data, even from ongoing projects. We were able to share data from the Hugin project on the TEG system, and this is the first time I've ever seen that been done in this way. And I have some years of experience. Aker BP shared Hugin and Munin data, Aker Solutions and Able. Equinor shared their Huldra legacy data from a project or an installation that is, I don't know if it's removed yet, but it is removed, yes. So they have given access to the 3D models and to the systems engineering data. So that is the brownfield case that we are building upon. In addition, we have all these standardization bodies, and I've mentioned just some few. There is more, and they do a fantastic job every day. They make this interoperability happen. I have mentioned Automation ML here, I have mentioned GeForce, Dexby, and we are using Industry 4.0 and PostCesar. So there is a lot of ongoing activities in this standardization organization, but they need help to success. They need help to succeed. And we need to contribute to their standards to make it what the industry needs. In addition, I would like to mention the EQ Hub. We got the APIs to EQ Hub open for all the contenders. This means you will see new things that we talked about a little bit in the last Show&Tell half a year ago. And this is also making the interoperability and the integrated data sparkle. Very interesting. And we have, of course, used the API to PostCaesar and using that heavily. All of them is using that heavily. So we are good to go.
Very good. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about the use cases the companies are working on. So what we're going to see getting demoed today, we gave them some challenges.
Yes. So the use cases is built around these data. There is 3, I call them epics. It is one brownfield epic where we hope to see the contenders, if I can put it that way, the companies, software houses that is on the stage and presenting their solution, that they can do a digital representation of a existing asset. That we only have data like PDFs and drawings, maybe pictures even, and bring that up to a live, sparkling digital twin. And then we have the Greenfield project, where we are giving the data to the contenders from both Hugin and Munin. Some has focused on the greenfield activities for one of them. Some is trying to combine the data from both parties. And then we have the commissioning and the digital commissioning, as we call it, the third topic, where we hope to see pre-commissioning taking place in the digital twin before the actual commissioning is taking place.
Yes, very good. So that is what we're going to see these companies demoing to us today. So for today, we have, this is just a brief agenda, but we need to be really promptly on the timing here, because there are so many companies that would like to show what they've done. So it's really important that after a break, you see in the green dots, after a break, we show up here exactly at that time. That's really, really important, and I need to be strict here. Okay. So first off, there will be, you see for every 45 minutes, there will be a demo session. Then we will have 2 companies showcasing. And then we will have a break. And this is how we run through the whole day. And we have lunch from 12 to 13. And from 14 to 14:30, we will have a panel debate. And that is something we're really looking forward to. So by giving these challenges out to the market, we were blown away last year by the achievements, and we can't wait to see what these companies here have in mind for us today. That's really, really great. And just some practicalities. If there are no planned fire alarms, so if the fire alarm goes off, there is an emergency exit there, and there's an emergency exit there, and we just go out the same way you got in to the parking, to the area outside the building. Good. And for me, I would like to emphasize, last year we had such a nice vibe, such a nice energy, all this collaboration between you guys happening. I would like to have the same vibe today. So everyone is accountable for creating that kind of vibe and that kind of energy. To talk to people you haven't met before, to seek opportunities and see what can we get out of that. So that's my rule for today. Be positive, be optimistic, and talk a lot, book meetings, and be curious. Great. Okay. So now I will introduce, we have a kickoff here, so we are so lucky to get Per Christian Weiberg from Equinor. He's the head of digital project development, together with Pedro Nunes from Aker BP, business transformation manager, and Geir Aarvik from Aker Solution, Senior Vice President for Lifecycle. So they will give us a little kick-off now in the beginning. Big applause to them.
Yes, it's working. Good. Hello. Welcome to Equinor Business Center and this Show and Tell event. I'm really impressed to see the number of participants here today. It's very exciting. My name is Per Christian Weiberg. I'm responsible for data and digital within project development division for oil and gas and low carbon solutions in Equinor. And I also represent Equinor in the DISC steering committee. So I'm here to provide a brief business perspective and context before we dive into all these hopefully exciting presentations and demos that you all have been working on. But first, some short words about Equinor, as some of you might be new here. Equinor is an international energy company dedicated to long-term value creation in a low-carbon future. Our purpose is to turn natural resources into energy for people and progress for society. Our portfolio includes oil and gas, renewables, and low-carbon solutions, and with the ambition to be or to become a net zero energy company by 2050. We are headquartered here in Stavanger. This is our main office, and we are the leading operator on the Norwegian continental shelf. We have over 20,000 employees working across 30 countries and collaborating with more than 8,000 suppliers on a worldwide basis. Our corporate strategy is centered around being always safe, delivering high value, and maintaining a low carbon footprint. For our project portfolio, we have more than 20 large projects currently in execution, with an additional 30 non-sanctioned projects expected to be realized the coming years. So it's a large project portfolio. Our portfolio has had a large degree of greenfields the last 5 to 10 years. We are now seeing a trend in that portfolio, moving from large greenfields to much more tiebacks, electrification, brownfield, and low-carbon projects. So this also means that we still need to rely on existing documentation, PDF-based documentation, as a basis for engineering. So it's going to be really exciting to see what we can get by digitalizing and getting a digital representation of existing assets. Looking forward for the project portfolio, we are seeing some challenges. There is quite a constrained supply chain, especially around capacity. We are seeing some negative trends in some key performance indicators within engineering and within installation that we work hard to turn. So we are working hard on continuous improvements in our projects. And to meet these challenges and to ensure future success, we have identified 5 high-level focus areas for the digital space in project development. So first, robustness in early phase, meaning having an efficient concept development, efficient digitalization of, say, project strategies, and to establish a good digital thread from the beginning of the project. Second, and really important and relevant for today, efficiency in engineering, where digitalization, standardization, and simplification are really important aspects. And here we need to work together as an industry to create lasting change across the industry. Our third focus area is predictability in the execution phase, with a focus on construction and commissioning, and how we can improve that final completion phase of the project, including handover to operation. So again, digital commissioning, very interesting. And fourth, integrated project control. We are working to ensure interoperability and integration of project control data to enable more efficient project management. And lastly, we are focusing on a robust digital foundation, both in terms of information and data, but also technology to support tomorrow's user needs and AI needs, including data harvesting and data sharing with contractors. So our overall vision for digital project development is to enable safe, competitive, and predictable projects, and this is what it's all about. This is the goal through the use of data, digital, and AI technologies across all project phases. And again, to succeed, we are fully dependent on collaboration within the industry, contractors, suppliers, and software vendors, where initiatives such as DISC is very interesting. Digitalization, standardization, and simplification are key components to success. I'm very eager to see what will be presented here today and find the topics we have laid out, digital brownfield, digital engineering, and digital commissioning, really interesting. And again, I encourage everyone to network during the breaks. We have many great minds here today, representing many different aspects of operators, software vendors, and contractors, and suppliers. And I think by working together, we can achieve significant success. So thank you for listening. Welcome once again, and enjoy the rest of the event. Geir and Pedro.
Thank you. Okay, so yes, my name is Pedro Nunes. I work in business transformation at Aker BP. It's really a department that we put it in place to really look to all the improvement portfolio that we're doing in Aker BP and seeing how it's really driving the change in our assets, and especially digital here. So what I'm gonna try to do, I will try to share with you in just a few minutes the Aker BP digital strategy. I think can be relevant for the discussions we're gonna have today. Because like just 2 years ago in ONS, we advocate a lot for the need of productivity revolution in NP. And by the use of technologies such as 5G, IoT, cloud computing, etc., etc. These technologies are still very relevant today. Don't get me wrong here, but I doubt that anybody here in this room would have kind of foreseen the impact of AI in the last kind of 2 years. So it's been mind-blowing what's been happening there. I know, I'm very conscious that AI is also a buzzword these days. We're talking everywhere, we're talking here, we're talking in ONS, and so on and so on. But, and then I really believe that the kind of efficiency that AI will provide to us will not really come by itself. So I'm just going to be playing a video here. I hope you keep me honest on time, because the video is only 5 minutes, while I'm trying to go through this. I hope it works. Yeah, it does. So in January this year, we launched our AI strategy. It's available in the Aker BP website, akerbp.com. Please have a look, and we can chat in the intervals. And we have actually used AI across our industry today. And for our own onshore people, we kind of deployed Microsoft Copilot, and we have built like an internal tool called Exploration Copilot that's mainly use machine learning and generative AI to screen prospects and to also to help with risk evaluation. But now we really want to take AI also offshore, right? And then I'm trying to show you here what we are doing to kind of make that a reality for us in the future. So today, our work process offshore are extremely dependent on kind of a feasibility check of the equipment to ensure the safety and the efficiency of our operations offshore. But in the future, it's not going to be really like this. We will have times where we're not going to have anybody at our installations. So then, you know, what we're really trying to be prepared for that time that will come in a very short period is that we have built like a onshore facility to kind of train robots to do those round inspections, but also to train the robots in other tasks that they need to perform. And then with the robots, we get data at better quality because the robots, they can increase the frequency of the rounds that they take, that the human would take, but also the robots have much more precision just because of the way that the machine operates and can repeat the task over and over and over again. The robots are also built with sensors that are evolving over time, and that's just going to give us more data and better data for us to use. So this new data set that we're creating is a very good opportunity for us to find innovative ways to use AI. So this new way to operate our assets really require a modern digital ecosystem. So we are able to automate data management and also ensure high quality of our data. So that's why we really believe that standardization and finding really practical ways to implement standards is really, really important here. So we also work with companies like Cognite and Microsoft to kind of integrate their data platforms to really create this ecosystem where kind of working with data is just simple and efficiency. So in the end of the day, kind of combining OT and IT data really going to enable us to kind of bringing AI to our work process. However, if you continue to work in the way that we're doing today with data, this task will be extremely hard and very, very costly. I can guarantee you I have seen some of the numbers. Again, what we're trying to do is to collaborate with Microsoft here. We really want to take our data and move into kind of data products that need to meet some kind of customer requirements. And then we also want to empower our business to be able to own those data products. And again here, it will be very, very difficult to meet the requirements of these data products across multiple assets if you're not very good into adopting industry standards. So our offshore installations is a quite energy-intense environment. So some vibration, it's okay. But when you have a lot of vibration over a period of time, it can be quite damaging to the equipment. So here what we try to do, use GPT vision to look into, analyze video images, and then create and map kind of a pattern recognition of standard equipment of what the vibration looks like. But you know, we didn't want our users to be kind of glued to a computer screen to kind of pick anomalies. We also didn't want our users to be looking for a lot of data to just guarantee that something was really going wrong, or even kind of create another very annoying beep alarm that everybody turns off after some time. We also didn't want the users to spend a lot of time trying to find the root cause of the problem. So we also create like a AI agent that was able to interact with the user, was able to look to historical data and really tell the user when something really wrong was happening with that equipment, and then was also able to pick up into previous actions that were used to kind of mitigate that situation before, and provide the user with a kind of a course of action to go further. So note that this took us just 4 days to really hack the solution. However, I think that we can be extremely innovative, and this is not really the hard piece. The hard piece is really to solve our data problem at scale that we need, to be able to take these solutions that we can create now very quickly and really implement in our work process. So our implementation speed really heavily depends on this modern digital ecosystem that we are building on. It's not finished. We have a long way to go still. And then, of course, the adoption of user standards is super important. So Yggdrasil is our biggest and most complex kind of project that we have been going. It's a very complex asset. We designed to be the future of kind of E&P. That means low cost, low carbon. And Yggdrasil will be heavily dependent on use cases that I just described, but many others. So I really welcome you guys to contribute with your clever minds to kind of solve them. Pass the word to Geir, and then he is going to talk a bit more from his perspective of how he sees these challenges. Thank you.
Thank you, Pedro. Is it on? Yeah, good. So, my name is Geir Warwick. I'm working for Lifecycle, which is the segment in Aker Solutions that do modification, maintenance, and inspection on existing assets. And we do modification and inspection and maintenance on hundreds of assets in Norway and outside Norway. And the range, when it comes to age of these assets, I think the oldest one we are working on is over 80 years old. And in Norway, it's probably from the 70s and up until now. Which means that whenever we do a job from the contractor side, we have to take whatever is out there today into our own systems, do some kind of mapping and looking through that data in order for that to fit our execution model. Then we populate, we have interactions with vendors and so on and so forth. And then we send this back to the customers. And what happens in that phase is that we develop a lot of data, connections to 3D models, simulation engines, planning, cost data, and so on. But when we send it back to the operators, all of that is removed. And then next time we are working on the same asset, same area, we have to take that data because Pedro or Per might have changed the data in the meantime, right? So you have to take it back, do all that, and send it off again. So I'm going to talk a little bit on the project side of how important this is. Because if we had this data standard, if I could send a weight and it had an IMF type ID, and I could send it to the operator, they would immediately know what is it? What's the unit of measure? How do we use it? What's the structure it's actually encompassed in? If we had that, we didn't even have to move data. We could probably just look it up where that data is, because we know the standard. And it's a way into the future, of course. But I think what you're doing here, starting with something that is at least it's workable. You don't take everything, you kind of narrow it down. This is a good template. Let's start with that, see that everything works, and then scale it. I think that's a very good approach you have. And we are really looking for that. But I'm going to give you a challenge as well. Because once all of this is in place, we have the data models, we have everything on the technical side, we have agreed on the technology and so on and so forth. We don't have documents anymore. Well, we can produce documents, but we click on a button and then the PNID is created for you. Let's say we are there. Have we won then? From the project side? No. Because most of our project execution models, or BMS, ARIS, or whatever it's called, you have your own ISO certificate that you are working according to, is document-based. It's based on when a PNID or a report or reaches a certain level, then someone can do something else. So even if all the data is there, we are still working according to a document-based process. So this is my challenge. You don't need to solve it here or today, maybe next show and tell. It's actually, this is an example from Aker Solutions, but I could probably take a screenshot of any model. It's actually quite well structured today. If not, we wouldn't have a license to operate, right? There's so many gates, there is so many checklists, so many items created and structured to make sure that we can work. So what if we defined everything as data points, as we are doing here, right? Instead of a data point related to a pump, you can say that piping needs pressure and temperature in order to start interacting with the vendors. Well, let's define temperature and pressure as a data set and put the quality level on that. So that when Pedro said, yes, now we have frozen temperature and pressure, click a button and then piping automatically can start to do the work. Right? All of this, it's fantastically documented today. Your organizations know exactly what happens because they are working according to this every day. So when you combine what we are doing here now, the data model on the technical side with the project execution model, or BMS, then we win. Then we can actually transform how we are working as well. And I think this is the next step. So we have to chop this elephant up into pieces. But once we tackle this one, start to think about it, then we win. Thank you.
Lissepasninger. Det var jo en del lissepasninger der.
Well, okay, there. Thank you so much for both sharing for us and challenging us. There are many things that we need to do to accomplish real value. So I would like to get you guys on stage again. Pedro, Geir, Per Christian, and Jan. So Jan, how do you feel listening to these guys here?
I'm very satisfied with setting the scene and giving us a challenge that we have already started discussing in the DISC community. But I like the focus on the data, which is the foundation both for AI, smarter way of working, smarter way of setting status, a smarter way of, yes, ... There is a lot of things we will be able to do.
Great. Thank you so much. Veronica, could you help me with the flowers? So we highly appreciated your time to be here with us on stage today and giving us these insights, both challenging us and cheering for us. So on behalf of DISC, we of course have some flowers. What is a conference without flowers?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so now I will introduce the next company here. It's a part of the DISC collaboration, PCA, and they will have a demo. In today's world, being profitable, efficient, and sustainable all at once is very tough. Miscommunication between people and machines lead to costly mistakes, especially in complex industries like oil and gas. The PCA library services eliminate these assumptions with a dynamic reference data library, ensuring standardized communication fit for purpose. This leads to fewer errors and more efficient, profitable, and sustainable operations. So please welcome the CTO of PCA, Fredrik Valde Antoniussen, and the CEO of PCA, Lars Dag Bertiniussen. Warm applause.
Først skal vi ta et foto. Anybody objecting, you have to leave the room. It's going on our LinkedIn profile. just flip to the next. We have a highly complex presentation where we are trying to coordinate my speaking with Fredrik's slides. You have all seen this before, and forever businesses have tried to balance the need for profitability, for sustainability, for efficiencies, and whatever. And maybe now, even more than ever, it has become really complex, because some of these requirements are ruling out many other things. It's very poor, it's very dårlig oppløsning. But we still have to do it. And we all know also from this analogy what happens if you rip away one leg. The stool falls over and there is no balance. So we have to balance all these issues and all these requirements. And certainly PCA, we don't have the ever good solution to keeping that balance. But we think we have some enablers, at least, that can help in or support in solving some of these issues or challenges that also was mentioned previously, in terms of being able to change your processes, to change your ways of working, and be more efficient, be more profitable, or maybe even more sustainable as well. So we're going to look at some areas with some practical examples. Reusable design. I'm going to use an example from my own working time or studies. Many years ago, when I was a student of organizational design, there was a phrase going around that said, sort of, everywhere the same yet everywhere different. Everybody was doing basically the same things in terms of org design, but still managed to adapt or adopt and do it kind of differently. And maybe also that's one of the challenges with design. If you have things that are, I'm just saying things, just to make it less complicated. If we have things that are almost the same, then maybe there is a lot to say for reusing the way we produce them, reusing the way we design them, reusing the way we engineer them. But then again, you need to be sure that you can be accurate in terms of reusing your own information or in terms of communicating your own information to other players. Like whoever is manufacturing stuff, whoever is maintaining stuff, and whoever is drawing, building, constructing things. You need to be sure that you can be precise and accurate in your communication and in using your data. Take next. You can just jump to the next one. Also, from my own experience, I had a company commander in the army who told me once that inspect, don't expect. And this is exactly what this guy is doing. Not trusting somebody telling that there's a good teeth on the horse. And we saw another example also just recently, last week actually. There was, in the news, it was published from the Norwegian Ministry of Defense. Kind of, it felt like they were bragging about it. But they were actually saying that the project team, the Norwegian-German project team that are planning, designing new submarines in a joint project, they had read, studied, detailed analyzed 100,000 document pages to verify about 6,000 design requirements for these submarines. What an insane job that must have been, because they actually said document pages. So you get the image that somebody has been flipping through the binders, looking at the paper, you know, your finger, requirement number 1, number 1,000, number 100,000, or whatever, and looking at the requirements, say, yes, that's okay, that's not okay, etc., etc. It can be a huge hassle, but also, as we see, it's kind of important to get your design right and meet the requirements. Otherwise, it could be a really shitty submarine. The third and last of my own experiences. Also, a few years ago, I worked for Siemens, and one of the senior vice presidents there, his own explanation for the poor profitability in projects was that we sell Ladas, but we deliver Mercedeses. Of course, that's hugely problematic in terms of your profitability. But also it can be really nice for whoever is on the receiving end to get that one Mercedes instead of the Lada. But it's not a very good idea to be that imprecise in over-delivering on promises. Or even if you look at your own purchasing. So why do we buy spare parts when our subsidiary in, for instance, Aberdeen has quite a few in stock? Or why do we get, as also almost one of the examples on stage, why do we get delivered or receive a pump that doesn't fit or doesn't meet the mounting requirements? So all that happens because you're not being accurate in terms of telling what you need, communicating what you need, and actually getting what you need and what you ordered. So the 100,000 document pages for the new submarines. Let's imagine that they have many users. Lots of people, lots of companies, lots of players need to look at those documents. What can happen then if you do not have really, really strict control of who can change it, who can update it, who needs to know about the updates, who need to be informed, who need to act upon changes, errors, there could be errors, who need to correct them. You need all these users, actors, players, companies, people to always look at literally the same page and get the same information from it. If something is changed, and I know that most of you already know what's going to happen, it means that whoever is, for instance, doing maintenance is not able to do it correctly because they don't have the updated information. And maybe you need to slow production down because you cannot do maintenance at the right time with the right equipment, etc. Some of you have seen this before. Individual assumptions or perspectives can really give you some misunderstandings. So if we take away the communication here, each of these, in a way, is correct. The thing on the left, indeed, is a huge metal fan. And the guy on the right probably also is a huge metal fan. But as a response to the one statement, this whole picture is incorrect and gives you absolutely misunderstandings. But when you can take the next. When you are using the proper reference data, coming back to our purpose, you can take away some misunderstandings, you can take away some individual perspectives, and you can make sure that a fan is a fan and not a fan. So let's look at some practical examples, and then over to Fredrik.
Yes, so imagine that you are a huge metal fan working under the sun, sweating, and you need to cool down. What do? You're in the desert, so water isn't an option. What you need is actually a breeze, a gentle wind to cool you down. Let's turn that into a requirement. What you see here is the PCA Library Services landing page. We have some key statistics on the data available, and we also have search functionality as well as more. We'll get back to that later. But our requirement is a breeze, and you could say that a breeze is just wind flowing or air flowing from one place to another. So what we really need to express here is flow. Now, I already know that we don't have the specific flow that we need to express in our library, so what do we do then? Well, we create new reference data. In this case, I would start by modeling an IMF attribute. First, I would select the predicate, which is basically the topic, the thing the attribute is about. And if I search for flow here, I get up relevant options. And here I'm going to choose volumetric flow rate. And then I can select the unit of measure, which is how you actually measure the thing. In this case, I can write cubic, and let's see, I'll pick standard cubic meter per second. Now, there's also more options here, but in this case, I could select, for example, minimum, so that we later can express that we want a minimum amount of air flowing. When you create new reference data, it's important to give a justification, and that's because we have to be very good about the bookkeeping. But for the sake of the demo here, I could just write that I'm overheating. Now, when you're ready to submit, you can review your data, and you can submit for review, and that's going to fail because I forgot to log in first. So then I can demonstrate that functionality too. All right, so I'm logged in now. I'll try to submit it once again. Perfect timing for this to go slow. There we go. So as you can see, this was a successful submission. And the instant you get the message that this was, in fact, a successful submission, you can actually go, you can view the data, and it's ready to be used by not only you, but also everyone else that's using the library services. Now, if this was a real case, I would also model an IMF terminal to say that this should be flowing out, and I would also model an IMF block to piece it all together. But today, we don't have time for that. So, going back to our story, Lars, we now have our requirement. What do we do?
I can take those requirements and send to my contractor or supplier. But how can he use that, or she?
Well, one thing they can do is to look for suitable equipment types. They can do that manually, of course, but we want to be more effective. And to be more effective, we actually need equipment types too. If you have both of those things, what you can do is actually to match the requirement automatically to the suitable equipment types. PCA doesn't have that matching capability in its services, but it provides the foundation to create it. But anyways, back to our story. We have to create a flow. And what could be a suitable type of equipment to do that? If you haven't guessed it already, it's a huge metal fan. So let's look for that. As you can see, we actually have that. Opening it, you see that this is an IMF block and the product aspect, and it was created by me on Monday this week. You have a description of what it is, and you also have the other parts of it broken down. And what you see here is actually the requirements you need to fulfill in order to be classified as a huge metal fan. If you have both requirement types, you have equipment types, and you have more of them, what you can actually do is to streamline the process all the way through commissioning. So what's next, Lars?
Well, let's say that it made it all the way through commissioning and delivery and production, etc., etc. But, of course, as we know, neither of these metal fans have eternal life. So how do we handle that?
Well, in short, you have accuracy and consistency. If you and the other parts in the industry actually build your solutions around reference data, you will be able to talk together about, for example, a huge metal fan. If you manage the data along the way, you will also be able to capture the history of your asset. And with those two things, you are in a much better position when something has to be done to your asset, whether it's modifications, it's maintenance, or it's something else. So, your assets have an end of life. Our reference data doesn't, so luckily we don't have to visualize that here. The point here is that PCA's reference data is everlasting. Every time you ask for a specific piece of reference data, you will get the same information back. And that provides you and other parties with a sound foundation for creating interoperability without an increased risk. So now we've gone through the storyline here. We've seen how PCA library services can actually provide you with the possibility of interoperable communication. Let's take a step back and ask the question, why PCA? Why is PCA here today? Reference data isn't a new concept. It exists from before, and there's other organizations also delivering it. So what makes PCA so special? Well, firstly, the data is readily available. You can fetch it easily, and you can have it in several formats. Perhaps a bigger differentiator is the fact that our users take part of the library's evolution. And with that, the industry actually has the capability to evolve the library over time according to their needs. If you have any questions, you have any suggestions, ideas, please find Lars and me outside in the area in the breaks. Thank you so much for listening.
Okay. Thank you so much, Fredrik and Lars, for making something as boring as a library this exciting into great, storytelling. I really, really like that. Okay, so we're soon to head into a break. So in the area outside here, you will see a lot of booths with these companies representing here today. They have their own booths where you can go and get to know them on a deeper level. They can also show you more into details what they technically are up to at their screens. So please go outside and make sure that no booth have no visitors. There should be visitors at every booth. Okay, so just a little reminder. So we all know this guy, right? Albert Einstein. In 1942, he gave his senior students an exam. All of a sudden, he just threw them an exam. And they were like, oh, ooh. And then they opened the exam, and they saw that, this is exact the same exam that we got last year. That doesn't make sense. And then Albert Einstein said that, yes, it makes a lot of sense, because the answers have changed. So what was the right thing to do back in only a year ago might be wrong only a year after. I think this is a good just story to see that we can ask the same questions, but the answers will change. And I think that the organizationals with really like high innovation, high performing organizations, they are the ones that could step out of the industry norms and think outside the box. So we need to have that in mind, to constantly challenge what we thought was the truth, because what took us there is not longer what will get us there. So yes, we can ask the same questions, and the answers will change. And this was relevant in 1942, and wow, how relevant it is today, as the world is changing faster and faster. Great. So, okay, like I said, we're going to have a break now. After the break, we will have DNV and Plants and Bytes for the demos here. So please, DNV and Plants and Bytes people being on stage, come here to get your microphones before you head out to the area outside here. Okay, big applause again.